This is Spain's fastest train, the Renfe AVE S103. These trains make dozens of trips daily between the country's two largest cities, covering the full 620km journey in as little as 2.5 hours non-stop. Today, I'll be checking out this popular route in Renfe's highest offering, Comfort Class, and you'll see how not everything quite went to plan. Now let's get this show on the rails! Welcome to Madrid Puerta de Atocha, the main station serving the Spanish capital. The structure before us is the original station, dating back to 1851. However, it soon gave way to a newer one just behind it, built in 1892, following a huge fire causing its destruction. As can be seen though, the old train shed is still intact in the present day, and as well as managing passenger flows, also contains a spectacular tropical garden inside. A lot of my visits to this station on both my trips were actually just to admire this, but can you blame me? Most of the flagship high-speed services depart from the Planta Primera, or upper floor, as our train to Barcelona does. Renfe's lower Avant-branded trains tend to depart from the Planta Baja, or lower floor. This means a quick trip up the escalators to access the platforms, where we can see it's incredibly busy, though the ground floor didn't appear to be the same, despite the high-speed and commuter stations exceeding 100 million passengers a year in normal traffic. Ah yes, no high-speed journey in Spain can be done without mentioning the airport-style security. This was implemented due to the Spanish government receiving threats from ETA in the 1990s due to the opening of the high-speed lines, and over 30 years later, it's still in place. And whilst not a major time penalty normally, crowds such as this can make it one. There are still far less restrictions compared to those at airports. For example, there are no liquid constraints or needs to take electronics out of your bag. Past the security is where most of the station's shops are, where you can grab a quick bite to eat or stock up on supplies for the journey ahead. As for me, all eyes were on the Sala Executive Club Lounge, which my AVE premium ticket grants me access to. All I needed to do was show my ticket to the kind receptionist who granted me access. The lounge here is fantastic, with plenty of spaces to kick back, relax, or make productive use of any time spent waiting for the train to begin boarding. Whilst I haven't been to many first-class lounges outside of the UK, it certainly offered a lot more than what we would get back home. As everything here is complimentary, I mainly stocked up on drinks given that it was already 24 degrees and I expected it to be much hotter by the time I arrived in Barcelona. Funnily enough, accessing this lounge with a first-class ticket as little as 3 years ago would be incredibly expensive. This all changed in 2021 when the liberalisation of the Spanish high-speed rail market completely took the country by storm, as France's SNCF launched its low-cost Ouigo brand in the country, whilst Italy's Trenitalia joined forces with Spanish airline Air Nostrum a year later to launch Ergo, who you may have seen on the channel before. In response to this significant change, not only did Spain's national rail operator Renfe launch its own low-cost Avlo brand, it also revamped its full-service AVE offer, including revised fare structures and much lower prices, but I'll delve into this later on. And now problem number one. Boarding for Spanish high-speed services, regardless of operator, normally commences half an hour prior to departure. However, on both this occasion and the second time I've used Renfe's Madrid to Barcelona service, boarding commenced a very tight 10 minutes prior to departure, and as can be seen, this is an incredibly popular service. The queue literally stretched to outside of the lounge. And finally, we get a view of our train, the AVE S103 Velaro E, which looks a bit familiar, right? Yep. 26 of these trains were built by Siemens as the first variant of the Velaro family between 2005 and 2007 and is derived directly from the ICE-3 used in Germany. These trains are the backbone of the Madrid to Barcelona route and have been since the line opened back in 2007. They also operate limited daily extensions to Girona and Figueras, located just before the French border. I absolutely love the livery and design of these trains. It looks really smart. How do you feel about it? Okay, let's hurry on board as I somehow managed to cram everyone on with just a minute to go before the scheduled departure. My seat is in AVE's first class branded premium, which I'll show you properly later on. Our route will see us run non-stop between Madrid and Barcelona on the Madrid to Barcelona high-speed line, taking us as little as 2.5 hours to travel 620 kilometers. Impressive! Now sit back and enjoy the ride. Despite the level of chaos, our departure from Madrid is only 1 minute late. As well as the route to Barcelona and the French border, the S103s also run to Malaga, as can be seen here, before we pick up speed to start making our way out of the Spanish capital. It isn't much longer until we pass the Taller de Santa Catalina, one of Renfe's principal workshops, where they maintain their vast fleet of both high-speed and Iberian gauge trains. Wigo and Erdio also have maintenance performed here by dedicated teams in separate areas. Passing through here is always a delight for an enthusiast like me. There are so many incredible high-speed trains on display here, such as the Frecciarossa 1000 below. We're now beginning to enter the Madrid to Barcelona high-speed line to begin our non-stop blast towards Catalonia. But just before we do, the menu is provided for passengers with a premium ticket. Not all passengers in Comfort are premium passengers like me, but I'll get into this later on. Food is prepared by Catalan 2-star Michelin chef Ramon Fraser, and as is traditional Spanish style, a warm towel is provided before delivery. Whilst we wait and as we pick up further speed, let's check out the interior of the train. The seats are the same as the ICE3, leather and very comfortable thanks to the padding and ergonomic design. It also features foldable armrests on both sides, with the window side having an entertainment system, though unlike the ICE3, this one serves a purpose, being connected to the TV system playing on the display screens above, and it looks like something family friendly is on today. Sadly, the biggest letdown of the seat was the recline function not working, and this was the case on both times I've travelled on the S103, so I'm not sure whether Renfe permanently disabled this. Regardless, the legroom's fantastic with plenty of space, though that is if you keep the footrest below tucked away. A standard European power socket is located under the seat base, and there's a foldable tray table which is fairly spacious, with a QR link to Renfe's online portal just above it. Below this is a small personal bin, though someone seemed to have confused the storage net for this from an earlier trip it seems. This is normally used for storing coats and other items, though for the former, the coat hanger next to the window may be more useful. A reading light is present just above the seat number, and finally there's a draw-down blind which, while see-through, is designed to reduce the sunlight to an appropriate level, which can get very harsh in Spain, as is the case today. The interior has its flaws and is not as great as the ICE3, though it's nice enough and it does the job at the end of the day. The Madrid to Barcelona high-speed line opened in full in 2008 and revolutionised travel between Spain's two largest cities. Typically, trains reach 300 km per hour on the line, as we're travelling at now, though the S103 does reach 310 km per hour on certain sections of the line during our journey today. Unlike other countries in Europe, or the world for that matter, Spain's high-speed lines are known for their stunningly scenic landscapes, and this line is certainly no exception. On that note, I'd also like to say I hope you're enjoying the video so far, and please do subscribe and turn on notifications if you are, as it's free and the best way to support my work. Thanks! It wasn't much longer until my breakfast was served. Strangely enough, I was given a plastic cup and metal cutlery, and as you can see, the presentation isn't particularly the best. Now there was a screw up here. When booking online, I chose the vegetarian option, but I was instead served pork, which I can't eat for religious reasons. Sadly, I was told no vegetarian options were available for me, so I had to make do with an extra piece of bread. I did try the vegetarian option on a separate trip with Renfe, and to be honest, it isn't really something you'd want to start your day with anyway. We soon find ourselves passing through Calatayud, one of the major cities within Aragon, as indicated by the Ayoub Castle seen in the distance, dating back to the city's origins centuries ago. The section of track between here and Guadalajara was where the S103 set the Spanish speed record of 403 km per hour in 2006, and at the time, this was the world speed record for an unmodified train set in regular passenger service. Personally, it really shows Spain's commitment to high-speed rail in my opinion. It has the longest network of high-speed rail in Europe and the second longest in the world after China's, which is incredible. As we continue down the line, we pass the section of track that diverges off to Zaragoza Delicias, the main station serving the capital of Aragon and Spain's fifth largest city. The non-stop services like ours completely bypass this station, which shaves off over 20 minutes of journey time between Madrid and Barcelona. Let's use the time we saved to look around our train a bit more. Comfort class, where I'm sat, is in a 2x1 seating configuration, in common with other first class layouts. At the end of the driving vehicle with comfort class is an area known as Sala Executive class, though someone's going to have to let me know in the comments whether this is actually still operational since Renfe changed their fare structure. Another point to note is unlike the ICE3 used in Germany, the S103's cab entrances are permanently frosted, which I can imagine is a lot safer for the driver, though less fun for the passenger. There is an accessible toilet on board for those with reduced mobility, this one being located in standard class. This is in a 2x2 seating configuration with narrower seats both in terms of size and seat pitch compared to first class. One thing I love about these trains is the wooden decor as is found on the German ICE trains. It's incredibly smart and in my opinion really gives the internal ambience a more premium feel. This train is incredibly busy today, everyone of course bound for Barcelona. This is highlighted further as we enter the Onboard cafe bar, a very popular space where people can grab a snack or a coffee as well as chat and relax. To be honest, the queue was rather long and I wasn't really that hungry, so I passed on this occasion. AVE's new fare structure can be confusing. Renfe previously used Turista for standard and Preferente for first, a concept borrowed from the airline industry. Since 2021, Renfe revised its fare structure to include 3 fare types, which I've included here if you want to pause and read for yourself. Yes, it's confusing, and at times frustrating, but such is travel with Renfe at times. The onboard toilets are very clean. Whilst the standard ones are tight, there are plenty of amenities available, and everything functioned well as it should. So I can't really complain much, to be honest. Making our way out of Aragon and into Catalonia, the weather appeared to be brightening up, as was evidenced as we sped through Camp de Tarragona, the last stop on the line around 30 minutes away from Barcelona. This was also the former terminus of the Madrid to Barcelona high-speed line in 2007, when the S103 first entered service whilst the remainder of the line was being constructed, ready for opening in 2008. One thing I did forget to mention is the incredible ride quality of the S103, as is the case with most Siemens high-speed trains. I really would like to see what it's like at the train's certified top speed of 350 km per hour. Hopefully one day. As we're now closing in on Barcelona and preparing to exit the high-speed line, I'll draw my conclusions. To be honest, the S103 is a great train and very well designed. But there are so many things that Renfe just did not get right, such as the poor catering service and the very scrambled boarding process at Madrid. That being said, my premium ticket price was €81.45, which is considerably less than what you would have paid before 2021. The cheapest standard fare for this journey on AVE can now be as low as €17 in advance, which is even lower than most Avlo fares on this route, and makes the service so much more competitive with airlines, both in journey time and price. City centre to city centre in just 2 hours and 30 minutes. Well, slightly less than that today, as we arrive into Barcelona Sants station a whole 9 minutes early. Now you've heard from me, I want to hear from you. Have you travelled with Renfe AVE service before? What did you think of it? Let me know down below in the comments. I do hope you've enjoyed the video today, and if you did, please like and share it to aid the channel's growth, and please subscribe to the channel and turn on notifications for more content such as this every week. Okay, it's now time to do some sightseeing before I fly back to the UK this afternoon. Thanks so much for coming with me on this trip, and I'll see you on the next one.